What up, though? Back at you with another book review. Hit the like and subscribe and leave a comment. Today I'll be reviewing Martha Stout's The Sociopath Next Door. Check me out. The Sociopath Next Door: The Ruthless versus the Rest of Us by Dr. Martha Stout. Published in 2004, she is a clinical psychologist, an educator, and an author. Years ago, after partaking in the devil's herb, I walked into a Borders bookstore and found myself in the psychology section. It was the title of this book that caught my attention. In it, Stout claims that 4% of the population lacks empathy or guilt. Now, to put that into perspective, if you were to line up 25 people, one of them's a sociopath. Now, this is actually backed up by the National Institute of Health. Clinically known as antisocial personality disorder, this condition is notably more prevalent in men than in women. In the first chapter of her book, Martha Stout gives us her definition of our seventh sense, our conscience, our built-in ability to care about the well-being, the feelings, and the pain of others, that rigid set of rules and logic that we should all have. Her book is filled with stories of people who disregard the emotions of others. People that don't think it is better to give than to receive. Seeing others in pain gives them pleasure. People who can see in the dark because the light does not guide them. Her first example is about a guy named Joe. Now, Joe is a 30-year-old attorney who is running late to a very important meeting with the senior members of his firm. And on top of that, he's got a 10:15 plane to catch to New York. On his way in, he realizes his dilemma. He forgot to feed and give water to his 3-year-old Labrador, Reebok. Now, he knows that if he keeps going, he won't be back for another day and a half. He has no girlfriend. No one has the keys to his apartment. Now, he knows Reebok won't starve to death, but the dog will be miserable. How long does it take for a dog to dehydrate? Should he miss the meeting but catch the flight? What should Joe do? What would you dog owners do in this situation? That story led me to ask myself a question. Do animals have a conscience? I know a dog understands that it may get in trouble for chewing up your shoe, but does it feel bad that it did so? Anyway, chapter 2 of Stout's book is about ice people. And the example she gives is about a man named Skip. As a kid, Skip would torture animals, sometimes to the point of their death. He would also sit down and calculate exactly how much money he would receive after the passing of his parents. Now, Skip didn't grow up to become a mass murderer, but he did become a very successful businessman by marrying into money and manipulating a father-in-law. On his way to the top, he becomes very powerful. Skip manipulates many co-workers, even sexually assaulting a few. Love and responsibility have nothing to do with Skip's choices in life. Is Skip a sociopath? Stout thinks so. Her next example of sociopathy I found to be the most interesting: the co-worker. Doreen has been a fairly successful psychologist for 14 years, but her antisocial behavior has given way to envy. The envy of the younger, up-and-coming, and in her mind more attractive Jackie. Doreen concocts a plot to discredit Jackie by secretly telling one of Jackie's patients, Dennis, that Jackie has confided in her that Dennis has made no progress at all with his paranoid schizophrenia, when in fact, Jackie has had tremendous success with him. This breaks the psychological improvement of Dennis, while also planting the seed of doubt in Jackie's own abilities. Now, Doreen does all of this knowing full well that her own professional life is a complete lie. The hiring committee never checked Doreen's credentials, going solely off the recommendations from two prominent men who had succumbed to a few embarrassing liaisons that they'd had with her. Because she came so prestigiously recommended, they just assumed she had a PhD, when in fact, all she had was a bachelor's in psychology. There are other stories, and they all have an ending. Does Joe go back for Reebok? how does Skip and Doreen's professional lives go? Stout gives the answer to these questions. She also breaks down why these people do what they do. To believe that no one can be 100% bad is a dangerous assumption, and Stout brings that to light in this book. I think it's ice cold to think that life is just a long, boring game of meaningless schemes. Personally, I think that even the most simplest acts of kindness can have a powerful effect on others. I also believe that our thoughts impact the way that the universe operates. With this belief, I try to be mindful of the energy I put out there. I don't think everyone's aware of this. That moral guide of our inner voice, whispering good and bad things to us. Some people listen to one more than the other. I think it all boils down to one basic question. What would Jesus do? For me, it's just as simple as that. Join me next time when I'll be reviewing the sequel to one of my all-time favorite movies, Heat, Part 2.